I'm Tim Gordon with your weekly recap. We'll be catching you up on some of the biggest stories of the week. And first up, the suspect that led police to two standoffs in Northwest Portland early in this week. 44-year-old Raul Nava Jr. pleaded not guilty in court on Thursday. Officers first tried to arrest Nava on an ID theft warrant on Monday. When they approached him, he ran, threatened them with a knife, and sprayed one officer with mace. After a 3-hour standoff, officers backed away. On Wednesday, police evacuated buildings around Nava's tent so they could surround him using CS gas to bring him into custody. While Portland police say this was the safer move, the heavy police response sparked mixed reaction from neighbors.
There was a whole SWAT team, and this looks like a lot of people to get into custody, this one person.
I hope that the person taken into custody gets the help that they need, and that maybe this drives home the importance of de-escalation.
Court records show Nava also has cases pending in Clackamas and Washington counties, which he has failed to show up for. Police have a third suspect in custody in a Hood River homicide investigation. On Tuesday, police arrested 31-year-old Jonathan Matthews after they put an alert on Facebook asking for the public's help to find him. According to court documents, Matthews and two other people stole a bike from 38-year-old Stephen Hayes, then ran over Hayes with a truck as they tried to get away. This happened at 5th and June Streets on April 11th. There's a GoFundMe set up to help Hayes' family. You can find a link to that fundraiser in the online version of this story at kgw.com. The Clackamas County Sheriff's Office has released the name of the missing kayaker who witnesses saw go over Willamette Falls. 20-year-old Marcellus Angelo Rodriguez from Porterville, California, had just arrived in town last Saturday night with his family when he went out on the river. The sheriff's office says multiple people called 911 after seeing him in distress, one saying he tried to swim to shore. As of Friday, his body still hasn't been recovered. Libby Dowsett has more.
The Clackamas County Sheriff's Marine Unit says it was people camping near the railroad tracks in Oregon City who spotted a kayaker in distress just before 11 p.m. Saturday night. Witnesses heard yelling and spotted the 20-year-old California man trying to row himself to safety.
As the call taker was on the phone with the reporting party, they were describing him paddling and struggling, and then describing him going over the falls. So as they were in the middle of the 911 call, that's when he went over.
The Marine Unit saying the man was staying at a floating rental home near the Willamette Falls viewpoint in Oregon City. Residents there surprised they didn't hear anyone head out.
And I was up well before 10. I was up at 10:52, I think is when they said the call went in. And then I fell asleep, and then the next thing I know, 1 o'clock, maybe slightly after, the helicopters.
Coast Guard helicopters and law enforcement aircraft helped in the search. Marine crews looking for the victim in the river all the way to the Selwood Bridge. Investigators are still piecing together why the man headed out on the river so late.
There are a lot of signs warning that there's a waterfall ahead in this section of the river. Most are 6 to 8 feet tall. I don't know what kind of lighting he had with him, if any.
The Marine Unit says the summertime buoys and diversions are not in the water at the falls yet. It's too early in the season, but even if they were, they aren't meant to stop people from going over. The Marine Unit sergeant telling me in all his years of law enforcement, he's never seen anyone accidentally fall over these falls. And he said the man's body could still be in the falls, trapped underwater near the rocks. Libby Dowsett, KGW News.
Multnomah County Sheriff's deputies have pulled two bodies from the Willamette River in less than a week. The first happened last Sunday near Swan Island. The second was discovered Tuesday near Sauvie Island. The medical examiner is working to identify both people and determine their cause of death. Sheriff's deputies say neither are the missing kayaker who went over Willamette Falls. A Measure 114, the gun control measure that Oregon voters passed in 2022, is now facing a legal challenge with the Oregon Supreme Court. While that plays out, Democratic lawmakers in Salem are working on a few other gun control bills right now. House Bill 3075 lays out how and where you can get a permit to purchase a gun and why you could be denied. You'll also have to show that you did a safety training course, and it bans large capacity magazines. Senate Bill 243 would impose a 72-hour waiting period on gun purchases. It would also ban rapid-fire activators like bump stocks, and it would allow local government to adopt policies banning guns from public buildings. And House Bill 3076 would lay the groundwork for a state licensing program for gun dealers. If it's approved, dealers would eventually have to be licensed by the State Department of Justice.
In 2022, as I comforted grocery store workers and ensured that our community was safe after somebody opened fired in our Safeway, it was clear that we need to coexist and take a new approach.
Our folks in Eastern Oregon are law-abiding citizens. Our small business owners are law-abiding citizens. And the notion that we're going to put, as described in Section 6, those additional regulations on these gun shops is just going to be a huge, expensive burden.
All three bills passed out of committee along party lines. Well, this week, Multnomah County commissioners got a better idea of just how much it costs to maintain shelter beds across the city. On the low end of things, the county's paying $22,000 per bed. That's more than the average yearly rent for a one-bedroom apartment in Portland. Our Emma McCarty has more.
We're able to take a look at really how much does this type of shelter cost, but say, is it effective or not in housing placement?
Before tackling the budget, Multnomah County commissioners spent time this week talking data, looking at the cost of a shelter bed or unit per night.
It's really important that we look at what type of shelter system do we want to have. I don't believe that the type of housing support one should get should depend on which shelter they happen to enter.
Commissioner Shannon Singleton called for the assessment to see how the cost of shelter connects to the outcomes. Although the least expensive option, at an average of $60 per bed a night or nearly $22,000 a year, was congregate shelter, according to the report, it also showed the lowest rates of positive outcomes.
We know we only have about 23% housing placement outcomes. We need more than that. So we want to really be thoughtful about how we do that.
The assessment also found the most expensive shelter to be motel shelter at an average of $141 per unit each night, or more than $51,000 a year. However, Singleton says those shelters had better outcomes, with nearly 70% of those staying there getting back into housing.
This idea of having low placements out of just congregate shelter, which is cheaper, I don't think is the type of community that Multnomah County wants to be. People really want to see folks actually recover and move back inside.
With these numbers in front of them, she's hoping leaders can find the right mix of options.
It's not a one-size-fits-all, and we can't just magically put everybody into housing, particularly when we know we don't have enough housing that people can afford for the long term.
Alma McCarty, KGW News.
Well, the city of Portland will soon take control of a tiny home village for homeless people in southwest Portland. It came as a shock to the operators of Multnomah Safe Rest Village. The Portland-based nonprofit Sunstone Way has run the village since day one. Currently, Multnomah County holds the contract for this site. The city will take that over July 1st and could hand the reins over to a California-based group called Urban Alchemy. While the decision is not final, the group says they are committed to making the transition a smooth one. But this puts the current Sunstone Way staff at risk of losing their jobs.
We haven't received any kind of reason at all so far. We will do everything we can to find other positions for folks within the agency, and those that we can't find a position for, we're going to have to look at doing layoffs.
Now, this isn't the only site provider that could be replaced come July 1st. The city is also taking over several sites that Multnomah County currently handles contracts for, including Weidler Village in Northeast, Southwest Nato Village, Menlo Park Village in East Portland along Burnside, and the Sunderland RV Safe Park in Northeast. That site's future depends on the upcoming city budget. Well, an Oregon winery is doing more than just popping corks. It is repurposing those corks for a second job. Appassionata Estate in Newburgh is the first winery in Oregon to team up with the Cork Collective. They will recycle the thousands of corks used by the winery and use them for things like pad playgrounds, art and design, and even help in the production of spacecraft. The collective delivered a special bin for the winery to begin gathering used corks, not just from that winery, but from other wineries and anyone who wants old corks to go to good use.
Hospitality, people involved as well, restaurants, hotels, event venues, everything. Anytime a bottle of wine is open, we want to be collecting the corks and recycling them.
The winery crew says their primary mission is to be a sustainable business.
On another clear sky, just beautiful morning, I'm meteorologist Rod Hill on this Friday with your KGW 8 Plus weather forecast. And let's get right to the headlines for the upcoming weekend. No big changes to the forecast itself, but some clarity, if that makes sense. So we've been talking about this early run of some rain passing tomorrow morning, and that still is a go from about 6 to 8 a.m. here in the Willamette Valley. After that, Saturday could be mainly dry. It's looking more and more that your Easter Sunday will begin and end, certainly in the afternoon, with a solid marine deck of low cloudiness that would produce, including in the morning and including in the afternoon, the ongoing chance of some misty or some light shower activity. Both days still looking to be somewhere near 60. Saturday, the warmer day. Sunday, the cooler day, especially if it's overcast all day. And then rain totals throughout the entire weekend, anywhere from maybe you literally only get a trace, period, at your place, to probably no more in the valley than about 1/10 of an inch. So high pressure in control today, the last of the sunny warm days, at least for a little while in terms of 70-degree temperatures. These clouds, which are with the band that will bring some rain first thing tomorrow morning, will be increasing overnight tonight. I'll show you a futurecast in a moment. Here's this, there's a pretty shot, some seagulls it looks like flying around there. Yeah, all right. Lincoln City, Chinook Winds Casino Resort camera. Just wanted to show you that there's no low clouds at the beach today either. Everybody's sunny. Here come the clouds overnight tonight, and here on Futurecast is that initial shot of rain early tomorrow morning. I'd expect this to be mainly light rain and maybe a 2-hour shot of, hey, it's kind of wet outside from about 6 to 8 or 6 to 8:30. Most models show by 9 or certainly no later than 10. This rain is out of here and it's moving up into the Cascades. And then what comes in behind it is nothing. Kind of partly cloudy skies developing. I think there will be a scattered shower threat tomorrow afternoon, but it could be completely dry. I mean, everything Futurecast is showing you kind of makes sense this time around. Here's Easter morning on Sunday. Notice the solid white. This is a push of low marine clouds. Notice the cutoff right here. So you know it's a low cloud deck only when the clouds don't go over the Cascades. Cascade pass level is what, 4,000 feet, or at least above 3 where the ridges are. So marine clouds are usually no higher than about 3,000 feet, so they don't get up over the Cascades. They do the coast range, but not the Cascades. So these low cloud days, as you know, can produce ongoing threats of misty weather, some light showers, or maybe where you are, it's just cloudy and nothing develops. Now, all the green specks is a weather model. This is 7 a.m. Sunday morning. All the green specks is a weather model showing an ongoing chance of picking up some light rain. Now, Futurecast likes light rain chances best up in Washington and less in Oregon, and best kind of banking up against the Washington Cascades. So this does show some snow getting up in elevation. Snow levels will be down to about 4,000 feet for the potential of some flurries over the weekend. And then if I stand out of the way, 1 o'clock Sunday afternoon, you can see partly cloudy skies out east, but the low clouds through dinner time, 6 p.m. continue here on the west side. And I have loaded up the wider Futurecast movie so you can see all areas of our 2 states. 7 o'clock Saturday morning, that's in green, that's the rain we just saw and talked about. Now, this shows some cloudiness and at least a rain chance making its way across our state through the afternoon in eastern Oregon, partly cloudy skies here on the west side. And then here is Easter morning at 8 o'clock. Again, the low clouds on the west side, not much cloudiness out east, and a partly cloudy day with at least a scattered shower threat, but most of you will be dry east of the Cascades on Easter Sunday, and for that matter, for much of the weekend itself. Okay, how much rain? We said in that opening graphic about a trace to 1/10 of an inch of rain. That's what you're seeing here on average. This shows some measurable rainfall out east, and it also shows maybe there's a little bit more than that along the North Oregon coast. This shows about 1/4 of an inch in Astoria. All right, so not much wind with any of that. And I think the tale that I just told has a real good chance of being right on the money. So we'll see for your planning purposes. Coast forecast today is sunny skies, increasing highs, cirrus clouds later today, but really just a sunny, nice day overall. Winds light to 5 to 15 from the north. Temperatures getting up to around 60 or slightly warmer. Valley forecast back up into the mid 70s today. So we'll call it a warm afternoon with generally north winds 5 to 15 and similar numbers up into southwest Washington. This shows Longview at 75. I have Vancouver and Portland at 76 for a high. The 4 o'clock temperature map, here we go. Everybody's sunny. Temps about 60 out east, 67 in Madras, 70s out in the gorge. Again, it's a north wind direction, so not much wind in the gorge today. And this shows the 70s from Kelso, Portland, Salem, Albany, and Eugene. Really, really beautiful Friday. All right, forecast 7-day for the Rose City. 76 today, 63 tomorrow. Again, a day that has high confidence of some early morning rain and then mainly dry weather with partly cloudy skies. Easter Sunday, growing confidence that it's an overcast day with a low marine deck that could produce occasional shots of mist or light rain. Monday, shower chances so-so. Most of Monday should be dry, but we stay cool, 61. And then getting up into the mid-60s on Tuesday and Wednesday. I do want to make a point of saying that once we get past Monday, the forecast models are not in agreement, and the data any one of them is showing has not been consistent. So the only thing I have any confidence on at all for next week from Tuesday on is that temperatures will primarily be in the 60s. There could very well be a couple of weather systems producing some showers at some point. We'll keep you updated on that. And for now, wishing you a nice Friday. I'm meteorologist Rod Hill. This is KGW 8+ weather forecast.
All right, Rod, thanks a lot. And that is a wrap on your weekly recap. Again, I'm Tim Gordon. You can catch up on the latest headlines anytime on KGW.com, your KGW app, or our YouTube channel.